Let's take a break from fantastical creatures and delve into more serious, mundane, and academic studies. At the beginning of the video, we'll talk a bit about Vermeer, but if you're interested in the drawing process itself, jump ahead to the time mark where I'll attempt to create a graphic copy of his famous Milkmaid. Johannes Vermeer from Delft. He's one of my favorite artists, alongside the Impressionists, whom we'll discuss in another series of videos. Vermeer's lyricism, the poetry of his images, and the compositional structure of his usually small-scale works are of an unparalleled level, compared to other Dutch genre painters. He's a mysterious and somewhat unique artist, the last master of light and color in the golden age of 17th century Dutch painting. We don't know what he looked like. He left behind no self-portraits or students, and information about him is extremely scarce. Art historians speculate that he might have been a student of Fabritius himself, but there's no concrete evidence. Only about 30 of his paintings have survived to this day, by various estimates. That's just about twice the number of his children. Yes, he had 15 children, 4 of whom died at an early age. Vermeer worked extremely slowly and meticulously on his paintings. The amount of detail, precision in perspective of all of this led to the belief that the artist might have used a camera obscura. Especially considering his friendship with Leeuwenhoek. Debates still persist. Generally, for an artist of his caliber, there's no real need to use additional tools. If he did use a camera obscura, it might not have been to simplify the technique of painting, but perhaps for an interesting optical effect. Moreover, during the study of his canvases, pinpricks were discovered, suggesting that the artist stretched threads across these points to construct perspective in his compositions. One of my favorite Vermeer paintings is his The Milkmaid. To me, it appears to be one of his most harmonious and lyrical works. Fortunately, there's now a chance to meticulously study this masterpiece. On Google Arts you can examine it down to the tiniest cracks in the colorful layer, the crackler. However, the best way to study a painting isn't just to observe it, but to create an educational copy of it. No matter how attentive the human eye may be, only through careful reproduction do the unnoticed details reveal themselves. For instance, take a closer look, pause the video, take your time, try to encompass all the details. As Holmes used to say, test your powers of observation. Now answer this. Did you notice the peculiar trapezoidal shape of the table disrupting the perspective? Did you see the tiles with an image of Cupid? Did you notice the chipped shard in the windowpane through which the light pours? And the carnation in the upper part of the painting, did you spot that? So today we'll create a graphic copy of this painting. A monochrome image will allow us to study the tonal balance of light and shadow without being distracted by color, and perhaps get closer to understanding how Vermeer managed to evoke such a sense of air and pure light. Upon examining the technique, it's revealed that alongside traditional methods, Vermeer employs a form of pointillism here, painting with tiny dots, which was quite innovative for the 17th century. Vermeer uses incredibly expensive pigments. Ultramarine blue made from lapis lazuli, imported from Afghanistan, which cost an unthinkable amount of money at that time. The leaded windows, constructed by joining small pieces of glass with lead frames, were a notable feature in both modest and extravagant buildings in 17th century Netherlands. These windows were often divided into multiple panes, sometimes with colored glass and rich decorative patterns. The manufacturing process naturally resulted in waves, bubbles, and other irregularities in the glass. When light passed through these imperfections, it refracted unpredictably, giving the glass a wavy or distorted appearance. A few words about the details. The unusual shape of the table is explained by the fact that it's actually an octagonal table with foldable leaves. When these leaves aren't in use, they can be lowered, saving space. In the lower right corner, you may notice an enigmatic little box. It's a foot warmer made of dense wood with holes drilled in the lid. A clay pot with smouldering coals would be placed inside the holes. The Dutch winters, hostile to the artist, who had to sit still for hours at the easel, were even harsher during Vermeer's time due to the Little Ice Age, which began in the mid-16th century and ended around 1850. During this period, the average temperature was considerably lower, winters were much colder, and waterways remained frozen for longer periods. Vermeer's biographer discovered that the artist bought ice sleds equipped with a sail for his children, for 80 guilders, to make the most of the harsh conditions. The immense value of the artist's works led to the emergence of forgeries in the 1930s. The most successful and scandalous forger, who produced several works sold as Vermeer's, including Christ in the House of Mary and Martha, even selling to the leaders of Nazi Germany, was the Dutch painter Jan van Meegeren. After the war, he faced prosecution for selling national heritage, and fearing a death sentence, he confessed to forging the painting. This scandalous story resulted in Van Meegeren's sudden death and caused embarrassment for the esteemed art connoisseur Abraham Bredius, who authenticated the paintings. Today, looking at these forgeries, it's difficult to understand how these paintings could have been accepted as Vermeer's.
The painting is a fake.
Recent infrared X-ray analysis showed that behind the milkmaid on the wall, there used to be a shelf with jugs, and on the right, on the floor, there was a large laundry basket, which the artist painted over. About the dramatic end of Vermeer's life, his widow revealed approximately 1.5 years after his death when she appealed to the states of Holland and West Friesland for financial assistance. In her petition, she stated that her late husband, Johannes Vermeer, during the long and devastating war with France, not only failed to sell any of his artworks, but also, lacking means, fell into such distress that every other day or so he turned from a healthy person into a dead one. A plausible interpretation of this story suggests that Vermeer, driven to madness by his inability to earn money to support his large family and pay debts, suffered a stroke or heart attack, which led to his death within a day or two. So ended the story of a great talent, yet to this day, we admire his milkmaid, forever pouring her eternal milk. In a series of videos about great artists and their works, I'll be sharing interesting facts about their lives. We'll delve into their techniques, painting styles, and attempt to thoroughly dissect some of their masterpieces through copying and thoughtful exploration. Upcoming videos will cover the Impressionists, specifically artists like Cézanne, Renoir, Van Gogh, and others. Thank you for watching, and see you in the next videos.